I run a plant-based ice cream store in Santa Monica, and over the years, we've done a lot of business through online orders like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. And honestly, I think the discussion around online tablets is way too simplistic. Because yes, the fees do seem brutal, but I also think a lot of independent restaurants and stores like us wouldn't be able to offer delivery about them. But let's get into everything you need to know about online ordering for your business. I completely understand why restaurants don't like online orders. It all comes down to this. It's the commissions. You see a big order come through and straight away these platforms take a huge chunk, usually around 30% away from your order. So once you take into account your ingredients, your rent, your fixed costs, your labor, everything else, you're also actually having to give away a huge chunk. And when you see a huge order come through and you think, yay, great. And then you suddenly realize, oh, sugar, I'm going to take off an extra 30%. And I think it's that disconnect that people don't like. This can be particularly painful for food businesses where margins are already pretty tight. And for a lot of small businesses, I think these are an essential structure. And I'm going to explain why. But first, let's dig into the numbers. How much do we actually make, and are these platforms actually worth it? So last year we did around $90,000 gross on all of our platforms. So you see, these are 3 tablets. We have a DoorDash, a Grubhub, and a Postmates tablet. So what did we make on these? So let's break down the financials. Last year we made around $90,000 gross on all of our online tablets. This basically works out to around $7,000 a month from online sales, and then it adds an extra $200 a day. Obviously, this can vary month to month and season to season, but that was the average that we saw for our plant-based ice cream store, our one location. Now, obviously, you have to factor into that the tablets take a percentage away from that. They typically take around 30%, though the bigger you are, the more you can negotiate on the percentages. If you're a multi-chain, you should definitely think about negotiating directly with them. 30%, that seems a lot and pretty painful, but the question you really need to ask yourself is, can you offer this yourself? Can you offer a delivery to the same radius, the same amount of people, and for the same cost of 30%? You got to think to yourself, can you build this delivery system yourself for cheaper than 30% of what it costs you? If you can, then maybe you should think about offering delivery yourself. We just can't be able to do that. Then 30% is actually a pretty reasonable, in my opinion, for us to be able to have a dedicated drivers, be able to send out deliveries on the spot. We wouldn't be able to do that for 30% of the cost of the order. I think that would be a lot higher. And this is really where online orders shine for a lot of smaller businesses. Because delivery is a lot harder than a lot of people think. You need drivers, insurance, cars, storage. You need to think about how quickly you're going to get it there. You need to think how many drivers you need, how many orders do you have going out, routing, geographical area, how are you going to even take the orders? Is it by phone? There's all these complications that come with taking your own orders that will suck up way more than 30% for a lot of businesses. And most importantly, you need access to the people and the delivery radius. There's no point building your own delivery system if you don't have access to people for ordering. The part I think also people massively underestimate is your delivery radius. As a small business, we would not be able to cover the same geographic area as the online orders apps do. People nowadays, they expect speed, convenience, and that is something we just wouldn't be able to offer by ourselves. The other thing is online orders are great at filling in those periods where people don't necessarily want to come into the store, late night orders, rainy days, cold days. They fill the gaps when traditionally people aren't walking in. Again, you're having to pay the 30%, but if you didn't have those, you wouldn't be getting any orders in the first place. One of the things we do at my ice cream store is Ice Cream Wednesdays. We do not offer that online because we're already giving 20% off. We're already having to take account of that 30% online. If you want our Ice Cream Wednesday discount, you got to come into the store to get it. We're paying for online delivery, for speed, convenience, so don't run promos online unless your business can handle the margins. I actually don't think the real question is platforms like Uber Eats or DoorDash too expensive, because they are expensive. I think the real question is, can your business or restaurant offer the same delivery radius, access to people, and mechanism for delivery for 30% or less? If you can't, then these platforms make huge sense, especially for a small business like us. And the answer for a lot of small restaurants or businesses is Probably no. If you're an ice cream business or frozen business, you can definitely do it. We've been doing online orders since we've opened in 2016. You just got to think of a way of keeping your items cold while you're delivering. Pints, super good because they come pre-packaged and frozen. Promos and ads are really hard. Currently, we run ads on Uber Eats. We get around 8 to 9% X. On DoorDash, we don't run because they were only running about 4 to 5x. What you really want to focus on with online orders is ways you can bundle stuff together to get AOVs up. For a small business like our ice cream store, it really is worth it. Online orders basically are adding an 8th day of the week for us. So it's definitely worth it for us. I think the conversation over online orders sometimes is too simplified and too emotional based. People see the fees and they panic, but you got to look at the bigger picture overall. Are you able to do this yourself? Are you able to reach as many people? Are you be able to do it for a cheaper cost? And often those 3 questions are always no for small businesses like us. I'd generally like to hear your thoughts. Do you online orders? How do you use them? What do you think about them? Make sure to follow and subscribe, and big love.